Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. Last week, we talked about exclusives and we touched on choosing between different agents. So
an exclusive, we'll explain again,
Yeah.
is when an agent asks to see your material exclusively before you have an opportunity to send it to other agents.
Right, and if you want more information on that, find that video.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a rant.
That's a rant.
Anyway, so we touched upon choosing and agents fighting okay.
So the reason we don't like exclusives is that we think you should have the opportunity to get as many offers from as many different agents as possible to give you a choice. Because hiring an agent isn't so dissimilar from hiring a contractor, as we discussed in the last video.
Yeah.
And when you hire somebody to work for you and with you, you want to make sure that there's a number of things that you want to look into and make sure of, and you want to have as many choices as you can possibly get.
Right. And in an industry where the commission structure is relatively standard, we actually had a commenter ask this: how do you decipher between who's the better fit? If everyone's taking the same amount of commission, and presumably sending to the same editors, what's the difference?
Because unlike a contractor where you could get a price estimate that's here to here,
there,
to here to here, with an agent, the price structure is going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah. So what?
Oh, who's calling us?
No, they're back. Okay. So what does an author consider if they're considering between two different agents? What does an author consider when making their decision? How do you make that decision? There's a ton.
There is a ton, but I think that there is one thing it boils down to, and that's something only you can know, which is, what do you want from an agent?
Yes, so that's the first thing you have to decide going into it. Do you want someone that's, all business going to submit your book, or do you want someone that's really going to be like, I don't know what I'm saying.
No. If you do you want an editorial agent? Do you want somebody who's going to give you feedback and work with you on revisions and give you ideas? I'm an idea person. I love to call people.
Guilty.
And I think I'm brilliant. And call people and go, hey, I have an idea. But not all agents do that, and not all authors want that. It doesn't mean I'm telling them to write the idea. I just like to throw ideas out into the wind and see.
You never know what it sparks.
Right. But so are you looking for somebody like that? Or are you looking for somebody who is, you're submitting a book that you feel is already very strong. You don't feel that you need feedback from your agent. That's what your editor is for. And so are you looking for somebody who's strictly going to submit the book and negotiate the contract?
Right. And there are plenty of authors that work that way.
Right. I think the biggest thing, we'll go into the questions in a second, but I think the biggest thing is what the author-agent relationship is a very personal one.
Yeah.
Besides the editorial work and the work on the manuscript and the negotiating the contract, your agent is your buffer sometimes between life and your publisher. Your agent's the person you turn to when life is making it hard to write and somebody needs to go to the publisher to explain that or get the extension or move things around or whatever it is. And so I think you want somebody that you really feel like you can trust and talk to.
For sure.
And that you're comfortable with.
So the question is, how do you get that sense from one phone call?
Yeah, I think you get it in the same way when you are at a party in a new group of people and you sort of drift towards this person that you're like, oh, I really like that person, enjoyed talking to him, versus that person made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's a ton of it that's just instinctual. You can research the agent, the agency, the agent's individual sales. You can research their clients. You can talk to their clients. All of these are things that you can do, but a lot of it is going to come down to, do I want to work with that person?
Correct.
Can I trust them right off the bat? Can I envision myself working with them and editing with them or doing whatever? And is that someone who I think has the story and my best interests at heart?
Yeah. And outside of that gut feeling, then there are some concrete things you can do and need to do. You need to do your research. I think we talk about Query Tracker a lot, and I think Query Tracker is a fabulous resource because a lot of authors post their experiences with agents.
And it's authors. It's unedited. It's all from the authors.
Yes. Absolute Right. Absolute Right is another website that does this, and I'm sure there are other places that we're not aware of, forums that writers' organizations have, your own critique group, but places where you can get a sense of how an agent has related to other authors and made other authors feel, really.
Right.
Sales.
Yeah, I mean the most obvious one is how are they doing?
Yes.
Like, are they selling books? Are they selling books in my genre? Are they selling books that to publishers that I'd want to be published by?
Yes.
Those are all things. They're fair
that's
observations, and I can't speak to that.
But what I will say is that an agent not having a lot of sales or not having reported a lot of sales is not necessarily a red flag, depending. No. Because new agents are great. They're hungry, they have time to work, and they want to put the work in. And they might not have a lot of posted sales yet.
Yeah, and there's something to consider that, especially in picture books, it's a long time from sale to announcement.
Yes.
So that can vary. So they could have sales, but they just haven't been announced yet.
Yeah.
Or being announced in a bigger way or something like that.
And that's something you can ask them.
Or maybe they don't use Publishers Marketplace.
Yes, there are some who don't use Publishers Marketplace. You know, the agency. You can look at the agency as a whole.
Website, social media.
Yeah, that particular agent may not have a lot of sales yet, but the agency might.
Right.
So,
when I was just starting out, I always stress the collaborative effort of BookEnds because it's a huge benefit, I think, to me and my clients. But it's just something to stress. I may not have had the sales when I was first starting out, but I had the support of people who did and who had over 50 years of experience in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider. Yeah,
and these phone calls are the time to really ask the questions that, you know, that relate to your vision for your own career.
Yeah.
You know,
it's time to be selfish. Yeah.
Right. Well, you need to keep reminding yourself you're paying somebody and you want your money to go to the person that you feel is doing the job that you want them to do. So it's things like, how do they communicate? You know, if they're an agent who only believes in text and you prefer email, that's important. But I think that, you know, and then there are things like, you know, if you are writing picture books, but you have visions of writing nonfiction and mysteries.
Good one.
You know, that's a conversation you should have. You may not find an agent who's willing or able to do all of that.
But does the agency do it all?
But it maybe just be a conversation of how did the agent answer that in a way that satisfied you. If the agent said, no way, if you want to do that, you should go somewhere else, then clearly they're not the agent for you.
Right.
The agent may say, well, I'd like to take it one book at a time and see where we go. Because in our experience, new authors come in with big plans for a very rounded career. But as your career progresses and you write, you may discover that your dreams of writing other genres have shifted and changed. You may have decided you want to when you didn't know you did, but you may have decided you don't want to when you thought you did.
Something could just take off and you stick with it.
Yes.
It happens.
You know, ideally you want an agent for as, you know, long as your career is, but changes happen to all of us, you know.
They're not bad.
Our visions for your career, your vision for your career, all of that could shift in a way that you're signing with an agent now, but it may possibly not be the agent for the rest of your career. Right. And so that's okay too. So don't feel like whatever your decision is making is, you know, we sometimes call it like a marriage, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage, or it could be a starter marriage.
And just a starter marriage. Well, also remember that there's no wrong choice. I mean, a lot of it is what you make of it and what the agent makes of it. And you could sign with a brand spanking new agent that nobody knows yet, and it could be great. You could launch an incredibly successful career. You could sign with the top agent and nothing could happen.
And I think that's important to note too, that people have different experiences with different agents, just like they do with different dentists.
Right.
I'm really throwing in the comparisons.
You are, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of authors that just didn't fit with BookEnds.
Yes. But then there are others who did. So you're going to get conflicts. I think you have to make the choice that feels, in the end, you have to make the choice that feels right for you, and know that, you know, whatever it is, just feel good about it, be excited about it, and move forward with it. But it really, a lot of it, to bring it all back, comes down to go with the person that feels right.
Yes. So we hope our little checklist helped. There's a lot to consider in addition to commission, but we hope that is helpful when you are making this decision. Good luck.
And congratulations.